Hello all you wonderful, beautiful people. Thanks for clicking on this video. And today I thought it'd be nice to talk about my top 20 favorite Iron Maiden songs as of the time of me writing this list, which may have changed by the time this video actually gets put out. Before we begin, I just want to say that Iron Maiden is one of the first bands that I fell in love with head over heels. And so as a result, a lot of the big hits that they've had over the years are not going to be on this list. Number of the Beast, Flight of Icarus, Run to the Hills. Even though I still love all these songs, none of them are on this list. Same with Aces High and a couple other pretty notable exceptions, because even though those are the songs that got me into this band, I've just listened to them so many times that it would feel wrong to put them on a list of top 20, and if I went by all their hits, there wouldn't be any room left on this list for the deep cuts. But with that being said, if you feel like I've left out a lot of really quintessential Iron Maiden songs, don't be shy to drop a comment letting me know what your favorite Iron Maiden songs are. You can't go wrong with any of them, because they're all pretty good. I mean, unless like your number one song is like Man on the Edge or something. Like, it's not that bad. But anyway, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Starting at number 20, Isle of Avalon from The Final Frontier. This is an album that's pretty divisive among Iron Maiden fans. I've heard a lot of people who like it. I've heard a lot of people who hate it because they think it got too proggy. But for me, Isle of Avalon is one of the highlights of it, and I think it's one of the Iron Maiden's best songs. It's epic, it's powerful, it's adventurous. It's an 8-minute long song, but it doesn't feel padded. It feels like every moment leads into the next. I also have a soft spot for the subject matter of the song. It's talking about Celtic druid rituals and mysticism, and I find all of that stuff very appealing and metal. The slow build-up to the bombastic chorus is really worth the wait, and the melody that Bruce sings for the chorus is incredibly catchy. So I just think that this is an underrated deep cut from an album that is kind of divisive among fans. And I think it deserves to be up there with all the other best Iron Maiden songs. Alright, coming in at number 20 is The Trooper. Now before you say, hey, why is this so low on the list? I just want to remind you that most of their hits are not on this list, but this song still made it because it's just that good. Of course, you know, the riffs are great, the energy is there, Bruce Dickinson is wailing like a madman, Steve Harris's bass lines are really frantic and energetic. But the thing that sets this song over the edge for me is the lyrics. I remember one time driving around with a friend listening to it, and when it got to the line, "We hurtle bodies that lay on the ground as the Russians fire another round. We get so near yet so far away, we won't live to fight another day." My friend just turned to me and went, "Damn, man, these lyrics are fucking heavy." And I was like, yeah, they are. And so for those few reasons, I feel like this deserves to be up here in the top 20, even though it is bit overplayed, and that's probably why it's lower. I just love the anti-war message, the energy, the solos, everything about this song really clicks. So boom, number 19. 18 for me is Phantom of the Opera from their debut album. It's amazing how well realized the sound on Iron Maiden's first album was. Compared to most bands, it takes a few albums for them to really hone in on what their unique sound is. For the first Iron Maiden album, it's all there right out in the open. It's a little bit more raw, not quite as well produced, but it's all still there. And this song, Phantom of the Opera, is like the first epic Maiden song. It's 7.5 minutes long, it has a slow part in the middle. It really kind of laid the foundation for what they would use going forward, usually as an album closer. The riff halfway through is great. Paul Di'Anno has a real snarl to his voice. It's just a fun, energetic, and epic song, and I absolutely love the solo in the middle when it kind of slows down a bit. The guitar harmonies, everything about it just works. So boom, number 18. So coming in at 17 is Lucifer Words, parentheses, Big Aura from Powerslave. Even though I don't exactly know how to pronounce this song, that's irrelevant, because it's without a doubt my favorite Iron Maiden instrumental. Everything about this song just slaps. It's so good. I love Steve Harris's bass grooves. I love the leads with Adrian Smith and Dave Murray just kind of having this melody that goes throughout the entire song. Adding on different harmonies. The main riff is really great. Not a riff that is very dependent on power chords or on chuggy, but just more of like a like droning on one string, which Iron Maiden does really well. Like I said, this is more of a deep cut, and these are the kind of Iron Maiden songs that when I hear for the first time, or when I heard for the first time as a kid, I just wondered why they weren't more popular. And if you haven't heard this from Powerslave, you definitely should go check it out. Even though it's kind of hard for me to pronounce it. Lucifer Words, parentheses, Big Aura. I don't really know how to pronounce it still, but I love it nonetheless. So coming in at 16, I have another deep cut, Judas Be My Guide from Fear of the Dark. If you're an Iron Maiden fan and you haven't heard this song, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please go check it out. This is a short, almost thrashy, heavy, fast, 3-minute long song with a catchy chorus that deals with hypocrisy in religion and nihilism. And unlike a lot of Iron Maiden songs that kind of delve into, oh, things are bad, this song actually is specific with the lyrics, so you actually have a good idea of what they're talking about. The chorus gets stuck in my head often, the guitar solo is insane, everything about this song just really works for me. It's songs like these why I decided not to have a lot of their hits on this list, because I feel like I would be doing this video a disservice by not talking about how great songs like Judas Be My Guide are. Coming in at 15 is Dream of Mirrors from Brave New World. Once again, another epic song about 9.5 minutes long. Iron Maiden really loves to do these types of songs, and for the most part they do them really well. When it finally does get going about halfway through and it speeds up the tempo, Nico McBrain has this really cool kick pattern that he has. It almost sounds like he's doing a double kick. But I've heard from some drummers that no, he's not. He's just doing it with 1 foot, but I've heard different things from that. I've never been able to pin down if it's a 1 foot or 2 foot thing. Either way, it doesn't matter because it sounds amazing and it gives a real lift to the song in the middle section. It's also an Iron Maiden song that's really fun for people to sing along to, and it's easy to sing along to, which I think is a really crucial part of their success. They design songs that are great to be sung in like 40,000 seat arenas. Coming in at 14 is another epic song from Brave New World, and that is The Thin Line Between Love and Hate. The song just starts off with like a really heavy, chugging, punishing riff, which is something that Iron Maiden usually doesn't do, but they still pull it off really well for the intro of this song. Having 3 separate guitars all layer on top of it really adds to the power, and Bruce Dickinson's vocal performance on the song is especially nice. It's a song that has a couple different movements in it, slow and chunky in the start, kind of mid-paced for most of it, then go into a slower section for the end, and it never really goes back to that fast part once it gets to the climax. For the most part, the song's mid-paced, and Bruce Dickinson is in his mid-range, holding back so that when he goes all out for the choruses and the end of the song, it stands out more than it would have if he had been doing that throughout the entirety of the verses. The very end of this song, Bruce Dickinson gets to show off his singing capabilities in a way that he usually doesn't get to. I mean, he's amazing on all the songs, of course, but for this last line in The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, it's basically a clean guitar and just his voice, and you really get to just soak it in, and it sounds incredible. It's a great way to end the album, and once again, I feel like The Thin Line Between Love and Hate is a song by Iron Maiden that gets a little bit overlooked. Alright, coming in at 13 is Power Slave from Power Slave. This song has such a great, heavy, harmonic minor riff that really lends to the imagery of ancient Egypt and sort of exotic vibe that goes throughout the entire song. Of course, the chorus is nice. Bruce's vocal performance is great as well. It has a really amazing drum intro from the end of Back in the Village going in through to Power Slave. But the thing that set this song apart for me and why it had to be on this list is the instrumental passage in the middle. Starting after the second chorus, where we have the droning of an open chord on, I believe, Dave Murray's guitar, and then Adrian Smith begins to do a little bit of solo, and Steve Harris is kind of doing bass fills. It feels almost like Rush. It feels amazing, and then it goes back into the heavier part, builds up. That whole about 1.5 to 2 minutes of instrumental section with the guitar solos is one of their best in my opinion, and it's so much fun to listen to every time I hear it. Coming in at number 12 is Caught Somewhere in Time from Somewhere in Time. I absolutely love the mix of the guitar tones with the synths for this album, and this song in particular. The guitar leads really sound good with the synth sounds underneath. Like always, Steve Harris's bass is really driving. Bruce Dickinson is giving it his all. He feels like he's playing a character, like he's some sort of devil on your shoulder, and it all works really well. Something else that I love about Caught Somewhere in Time is that it's an 8-minute long song, but it doesn't really have many tempo changes. It stays consistent throughout, which is actually pretty difficult to do and to keep it interesting. But the energy never dies down for the song. It's always grabbing your attention, and it's always driving, and that's why it's awesome. Coming in at number 11 for me is Children of the Damned from Number of the Beast. Number of the Beast was one of the first albums I ever bought. In fact, I think it was the first album I bought, and Children of the Damned was instantly a song that I just fell in love with. The subject matter of the song really gets me. Of course, it's open to interpretation, but the way that I've interpreted it, pretty much since I started listening to it, was that Children of the Damned refers to children of witches and warlocks and werewolves in the Middle Ages. The children of the people who were burned at the stake oftentimes would also get burned at the stake because they must be a witch, they must be a demon. They must be into Satanism. And with that being the mindset of what I think the song is about, you can tell why it's just gut-wrenching to listen to in a good way. Bruce Dickinson in this album is not holding back at all. He's really wailing. You can tell that the band as a whole felt like they had something to prove, and that's one of the many reasons why this album just sounds so good. And as a side note, Children of the Damned was the first guitar solo I ever learned to play, so I'll always have a little soft spot for it in my heart. And that's why Children of the Damned, for me, is number 11. Okay, so coming in at number 10 is another deep cut, another Iron Maiden song that I feel doesn't get the recognition it deserves, and that is Prodigal Son from Killers. This is a song that really stands out as Iron Maiden songs go. I don't think they ever really did something quite like this afterwards. It's mostly a clean guitar song. There's a lot of jangling, there's a lot of like 6/8, there's a lot of prog feeling. This song almost feels as though it could have been on like a Yes album. A little bit heavier than that, but still gentle enough to sound like it belongs in the 1970s prog rock scene. I just think it's really cool that Iron Maiden did a song this experimental and this gentle on their second album, especially Killers, which is a pretty heavy album from beginning to end, and Adrian Smith and Dave Murray's guitar solos in the song are some of their best. So with all that in mind, this is a really great underrated song, and I think you should go check it out if you haven't heard it. Number 10, Prodigal Son. Coming in at number 9 is Strange World from their debut album. How I said with Prodigal Son that there was just a bit of experimentation and it felt like it could be on a 1970s prog rock album, this song feels like it could almost be on a Pink Floyd album. To see Iron Maiden experiment with something more gentle, a bit more laid back, a bit more psychedelic, and giving a guitar player like Dave Murray the backdrop to give a kind of David Gilmour-esque solo all really pays off well. You know, Paul Di'Anno usually is not seen as the best Iron Maiden vocalist, and I understand that because he's being compared to Bruce Dickinson, but he's still excellent, especially on songs like this where he's able to be a bit more laid back, a bit more subdued. So yeah, number 9, Strange World from their debut album. If you haven't heard it, go check it out, it's really cool. Coming in at number 8 for me is Rainmaker from Dance of Death. A common criticism of Maiden in their later years is that they don't know how to write songs anymore. They have just really bloated, long songs that they just can't write hooks. And I feel like this song kind of disproves that to an extent. The song is just short, to the point, punchy, energetic all the way through, and insanely catchy and melodic. Dave Murray has an absolutely insane guitar solo. I really like how you can see the evolution of Adrian and Dave from the 80s up through the early 2000s. You can tell that they were looking at guys like Yngwie Malmsteen and other shredders, and even though they don't get quite as insane as those guys, they still adopted some of their techniques, and it really shows on this song. Plus, Rainmaker just has a badass riff and a really great chorus. Coming in at number 7, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Of course it was going to come in at number 7. Much like Isle of Avalon, where I said it just has a really epic, ominous, fantastical kind of mood set throughout, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son does that, but better in my opinion. The chorus is really cool because Bruce Dickinson just gets to belt out notes. He doesn't have to worry about singing words, just whoa, 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 whoa. And it's also something fun for, you know, like an auditorium of 10, 20,000 people to sing along to. I love the last half of the song, how Iron Maiden's like, no, we're going to have a 4.5 minute long instrumental section just because. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son is probably my favorite Iron Maiden album, so the title track has to be up here. And maybe it deserves to be a little bit higher, but then I wouldn't be able to have it be at 7. So there you go. Coming in at number 6 is Killers from Killers. This might be Iron Maiden's heaviest song that they ever did, and it was out on their second album. There's just a ferocity to this song that you don't get for a lot of their music. It's either between this or Be Quick or Be Dead as like the heaviest Iron Maiden song for me. Paul Di'Anno's lyrics about some lunatic stalking the streets are pretty scary. He snarls in it. The guitar riff with the harmonics kind of has this a bit of a almost like mechanical vibe to it. The intro with Steve Harris's bass playing and Paul Di'Anno just wailing to kind of set a mood really works. Like I said, Killers is probably Maiden's heaviest song. It's so ferocious. You can see why they were such an influence on thrash metal with songs like this. Yeah, and so for all those reasons and more, Killers is number 6. Okay, so now we're in the heavy hitters. Coming in at number 5 is Moonchild from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I mentioned before how I really like the evil vibe that Killers had. Well, Moonchild manages to do that while keeping on the synths that they adopted from Caught Somewhere in Time. Having a song about the devil trying to convince someone to kill their own child is one of the most metal things I've ever heard. And Bruce Dickinson relishes in being able to like sing as the devil and just be a character. You can tell he's just having a lot of fun in the vocal booth. The synth riff in the intro of the song is just a really cool example of that keyboards and synths can be really heavy. They seem to get a bad reputation in metal a lot of the times. It's usually guitar driven, although I think that has softened in the last couple years, last decade or so. But this is just an example of it all the way back in the 80s of synthesizers being metal and being really cool. Yeah, and just overall with Moonchild and the entire Seventh Son of a Seventh Son album, you can tell that the band is just all in, and there's a lot of energy in the performance. There's a lot of fun being had playing with these kind of like evil characters and tropes. Moonchild is just so deliciously evil, and that's why I love it, and that's why it's number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Alexander the Great from Somewhere in Time. This is probably my favorite of the epic Iron Maiden songs, and all that I said about Power Slave and its instrumental passage, you can just take and multiply by 10 for Alexander the Great and its instrumental passage. Look, I mean, the guitar solos in the middle of this song and the 7/8 section, really what got it up this high on the list. The lyrics, they're good. The chorus, that's fine. But it's all about that middle section for me. It is just so good. I also really like how in the song they're playing around with Phrygian, Phrygian major, harmonic minor. Just adds a real nice texture to the song, having those different tonalities in there. Coming in at number 3 for me is Infinite Dreams, also from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I've loved this song for so long, and I don't really know what I can say or explain why. There's just something about it, a dreamlike quality, no pun intended, a sort of epicness to the production, a gloss to it, the intro guitar harmonies, the way that that goes into a more upbeat verse section when Bruce starts singing. All of it is just absolutely perfect. The guitar harmonies that go on towards the end after Bruce Dickinson gets a moment to kind of belt out and kind of have a harsh moment with his vocals, it's all really cool. I love how it goes back to the beginning by the end and just sort of has this idea or a vague sense in the lyrics about reincarnation and living the same dream over and over again. It just all comes together to create something that is kind of hard to describe unless you've listened to it. Which I know, as I say, it's like, hey, isn't that what I'm supposed to do here with the videos? But no, just go listen to Infinite Dreams by Iron Maiden. It's incredible. Why are you watching me talk about it? Go listen to it. As I said before with Prodigal Son and Strange World, this song too kind of has a bit of like that Pink Floydian progressive rock feeling to it, but it also has the Maiden heaviness and just metal to it as well, and it all comes together for something really unique that I think is just perfect. Okay, so we're coming down to the top 2, and for me, number 2 is Passchendaele from Dance of Death. The song is like The Trooper, if The Trooper was a 9-minute long epic. The lyrics tell of a story of a soldier in World War I during the Battle of Passchendaele, and they do not hold back at all. They are gut-wrenching. They're some of the most emotional lyrics Iron Maiden has ever done. Another thing I love about this song is how good the music is at backing up what the lyrics are saying. The instrumentation and the lyrics mesh really well together when you're talking about bombs going off and artillery firing. There's bombastic drums when it's sort of more laid back and building up tension in the lyrics, talking about to go over the top. It's more subdued. So like I said, these are some of Iron Maiden's best lyrics, and I don't feel as though I can properly show you how intense and good they are without just reading you some of them. Whistle shouts and more gunfire, lifeless bodies hang on barbed wire, battlefield nothing but a bloody tomb, be reunited with my dead friend soon. Many soldiers 18 years, drowned in mud, no more tears. Surely a war no one can win. Killing time about to begin. Yeah, so with lyrics that gut-wrenching, that intense, that anti-war, and then epic music to match, epic guitar solos, really great production, subtle strings in there, of course Passchendaele is going to be my number 2. Coming in at number 1 for me, Hallowed Be Thy Name from The Number of the Beast. How could it be anything but this for the number 1 Iron Maiden song? Everything about Hallowed Be Thy Name just works, and it works so well. The beginning with the chiming of the bell, the lyrics that we all know by heart, and the story it's telling about a condemned man being brought to the gallows and having to face his own mortality is something, unfortunately, we're all going to have to deal with one day. won't be led to the gallows, but we're all going to have to face death. And that poignancy in the lyrics, that emotion is something that always brings me back to the song. So if you have a song like Hallowed Be Thy Name that has amazing musicianship, an insane guitar solo, really great vocal lines, lyrics that are just super poignant, and it makes me want to live a better life because I'm aware of my own mortality, well, of course it's going to be number one. And that's why for me, Hallowed Be Thy Name is the number one Iron Maiden song. But enough about me. What are your favorite Iron Maiden songs? Leave them down in the comments below, and thanks for watching. And please, I know I left out a lot of heavy hitters like Wasted Years, Be Quick or Be Dead, Ace is High, all the rest, so don't be afraid to let me know if those are some of your favorites. Anyway, with all that said, if you've liked this video, please subscribe, hit the like button. It really helps the channel out. You know how YouTube works, and I hope to see you at the next video. Thanks for everything.